16 has never beaten a 1. So, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why it's good to be a 1.
Robert Vaden knocks down the triple. Vaden now has 14, 4 of 9 shooting from 3 to go along with 5 rebounds. So Kennard's in double digits with 15, Vaden has 14, and then Channing Tony has 16. Earl Horton with the much-needed bucket.
I mean, Vaden's probably, if he finishes up the season like he's been going, he's going to be a 2,000-point scorer. 2,000 points, that's an elite player.
Horton with that last bucket for Southern Miss. That's his first made shot of the day. He's now 1 for 9 shooting. Run out chance for the Golden Eagles. Three goes down for Craig Craft. That is the first made 3 of the day for Southern Miss.
Mike Davis, I guess he didn't like that. They made a 3. He calls timeout.
So UAB well in position for win number 19 of the season. We take a look at the remaining schedule. They have the huge win on Thursday versus Memphis, followed at East Carolina, at UTEP.
Now there's your trap game. You want to see a trap game? At East Carolina. That's a trap game. They go play Memphis, and if they go and beat Memphis, they better make sure they're awake at East Carolina. They could get trapped there.
So, really, regardless of that result against Memphis, you've got a Thursday night game where the place is going to be juiced. Your players are going to be juiced. And then the next day, you're getting on a plane to go play at ECU.
Well, that's tough. And when my last year at UMass, we beat Connecticut, which is a huge win, especially up there. And the place was sold out. We won the game. And for us, next day, we had to get on a plane and go to Miami. And we got drilled. So now Miami's a little better team, I think, than East Carolina would be compared to UAB. But you have to be careful when you have, especially if they win an emotional game, which winning that game would be emotional no matter what the score is.
The UAB lead is 23, but Southern Miss is playing good ball lately. A 9-3 run.
That's the money you could be saving with Geico. What? I know. Geico.
Tell me who's watching. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
What's with the mini burgers?
They're new BK burger shots. Watch.
Oh, look at those tiny little burgers. Adorable. How long have you had them?
I just got them at Burger King. They're flame broiled, just like the big ones.
Oh, I just want to squeeze them.
Squeeze away.
New BK Burger Shots. Tiny burgers, big flame broiled taste.
How much sugar is in these energy drinks? Let's find out. While waiting, you should know. 5-Hour Energy contains 0 sugar and only 4 calories. Its blend of B vitamins and amino acids can help you feel awake, alert, and productive for hours without the crash or jitters. The answer is 12. Over 12 teaspoons of sugar and 200 calories in these energy drinks. 0 sugar and 4 calories in 5-Hour Energy. There's a reason people choose 5-Hour Energy 2.5 million times a week. 5-Hour Energy. Hours of energy now, no crash later.
58-35, so it's a 23-point game now for UAB. Well, you said how dangerous it is when you have 3 different guys who can score like Delaney, Kennard, and Vaden.
Well, you got almost 1,900 for Vaden, 1,300 each for Kennard and Delaney. That's a pretty good threesome right there. And Delaney's the slasher, Kennard's a shooter and rebounder, Vaden's a three-point shooter. So this gives them a tremendous amount of versatility. It's like, where do you go to stop this team? You have 3 different ways that you can get hurt when you play against them.
You know, UAB, I think maybe is a little bit under the radar as far as basketball history and tradition. You go back to when Gene Bartow left UCLA in 1978. There's a famous picture that says UAB 1, UCLA nothing, like Gene Bartow leaving UCLA to come to UAB.
And that's when they first went Division I. They've only been Division I for 30 years. I mean, that's a relatively new program for a program that has a pretty good history and a pretty good tradition over those 30 years.
Vaden buries another three. An amazing shooting day for Robert Vaden. He's 5 of 10 from 3.
Well, you know what he's done to his body, as I talked about earlier. He's got much better lift in his legs than he had last year, especially later on in games. He was really up on that jump shot. All legs.
Gordon with just his second made basket of the game. And Gene Bartow, after leaving UCLA in 1978, it was just 3 years later that UAB was in the Sweet 16.
So
Fourth year of the program, they were actually in the Elite 8.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's they have good tradition considering they've only been around for 30 years.
Steve Mitchell, whose number's hanging in the rafters, is involved with the UAB program. I know he's one of the radio announcers and works for the university. Recently, as 2004, they were a Sweet 16 team when they beat Washington in the first round, top seed Kentucky in the second round in Columbus, Ohio.
40 minutes of hell. I'll tell you, 40 minutes of hell is working pretty good stuff in Columbia, Missouri right now, too.
Mike Anderson, the previous head coach at UAB, he was coach here in 2006 when they beat Memphis here, the last CUSA team to beat the Memphis Tigers. And as you mentioned, the Nolan Richardson disciple. He played for Nolan at Tulsa and then was an assistant for him at Arkansas and brought that style to UAB and now Missouri.
And they had a point guard, Squeaky Johnson. I don't know if you remember, Carter, but they had Squeaky Johnson, and he was the best small point guard I ever saw who could not shoot a lick. Usually if you're like 5'9", you've got to be able to make some shots. This guy wreaked havoc everywhere, stealing the ball, running in transition, and he could not shoot a little bit.
Carl Dell from New Orleans, Squeaky Johnson. Remember we talked to Squeaky one time. He played junior college ball and then came here, paid his own way for a year before they could give him a scholarship before he could play. She said, you know, Squeaky, what did you do during that year? He said, I worked maintenance for the university. He ran a leaf blower.
Well, they certainly don't have snow blowers here, so if they're going to be blowing anything, it'll be leaves.
Ended up leading a team to the Sweet 16 and beating Kentucky. Vaden shows that he can take it off the dribble, too.
It's just been a wide array of everything. It'd be interesting to see, like, what is Larry Eustace going to do with this tape? You know, when you coach, everybody's been in these situations. Believe me, I've been in them. And it's like, what do you do with the tape? Do you show it to them? Do you burn it? Do you have a ceremony in the locker room tomorrow? When you walk in the locker room, you have the tape in your hand. The kids are all saying, oh, my God, he's going to show it to us. And then you, like, light it up in the locker room with a match. I don't know what you do with this thing, but looking at it is probably not going to help you much.
You know, obviously, this one is well in hand for UAB as Delaney finger rolls it in. So this is, mark this one down as a UAB win, a Southern Miss loss. But Southern Miss still has a chance at a winning season. They have Tulane at home later this week. They have a game at SMU and a home game against UTEP. If they get 2 of those 3, then they will have a winning record. So this is the upcoming schedule. You know, Southern Miss at 5th-ranked Memphis is probably not going to be one the Golden Eagles are going to get.
No, that's not one they're looking at. But Tulane at SMU and UTEP home, if they can win those games and have win 2 of those games, they'll end up with a winning season. 3rd in a row for them, which I was talking to Larry before the game. That would be a good step for them to have. So right now they have goals. You know, there's no doubt about it. They have to go out though and they have to play a little better, a little more intensely than they played today. And they have all year. It's just been hard. And I got to give Larry credit because he's really kept his cool very, very well today. I've been all over the place, I think.
Might have been better to get run from the game and just...
No, I've never been run. No, it's never better to
run,
get... No,
really?
never. I never got thrown out of the game.
Paul Delaney III jams it home.
That never looks good. You know, to me, you don't want to get... Then you've lost it completely. I don't think it's good to show people that you've lost it. Believe me, they're playing... Don't lose it in the locker room after when nobody sees it.
31-point lead for UAB.
I want to know why you're so surprised that you were like, what? You were like, you never what? Come on, is that ridiculous that I never got thrown out? Thanks, Carter.
Well, I know you have a great relationship with the men in black and white running up and down the court during the coaching days.
I always have.
You know, we saw on Wednesday night, we saw Matt Doherty get tossed with 48 seconds to go, and in an interesting call, he never got teed. He just got ejected, and they only called 1 technical foul. They called it a flagrant.
I've never heard of that.
Exactly.
Wait, a coach? This is a great dunk here. Athletic he is, but I never heard of a coach get a flagrant tech. What do you do?
That's what they wrote it down. That's what they wrote it down. They wrote it down as a flagrant technical foul, automatic ejection.
What did he do?
With 48.